Mic check, mic check. What's up, my 3%ers? We back with another one. You know, I got some things that's in motion right now, so I slightly been up for more than 24 hours. But I felt like there was something that I needed to say because when you stay up for a good amount of time and you break the system of how you sleep and how you play in the game, things come to you. You know, you're able to touch different parts of the ether. And even though the red pill is dead and the manosphere is dead and all of these guys who want to talk about the dynamics between men and women, it's pretty much done. I want to talk about this subject in a way that only 3%ers can. And let it be understood in a way that only 3%ers can make it be understood. And what is that? What is it that we need to understand? We need to understand that modern life is going to shit. And why is modern life going to shit? You see, modern life is going to shit because we have too many Barbies that are the leaders. Shouts out Nicki Minaj. But when I say Barbies, I'm not meaning it in the context of what you would think a Barbie is. It's a mindset. It's a way that you go about life. And this is why Barbies can't be leaders. You see, when Barbies are leaders, the pendulum seems to do this thing where it swings back and forth. You see, all you have to do is study history and you see that the power dynamics between men and women who are both fighting for power, it just goes back and forth. And real power doesn't require force. If I'm the leader, I don't have to force my ideologies or my creed upon you. It just is. But when Barbies are the leaders, they have to force things into play and they think that that is power. It's a sad state of living. And you have to ask yourself, well, how did we get here? What brought us to this state? Why does it go back and forth? Let's start with Ken. You see, Ken wants Barbie's attention. He does everything he can to gain the graces of Barbie. All he wants is Barbie's attention. And he will resort to materialism, lawlessness, castration and surrender. He's governed by romanticism, which leads to him wanting to work in a world where everything is beautified. So it's the beautification of things. Because if I'm beautiful, then maybe then Barbie will like me. And if we are going to talk about what Ken desires, we have to bring up what Ken desires, which is Barbie. And what Barbie desires is Barbie wants to be worshiped. You see, deep down inside of all of us is a divine spark that understands something that our brain can't comprehend, which is the doorway from heaven to earth is through the woman. Therefore, the closest thing that we could get to God in the physical world would be a woman. And a woman understands this in a way that she doesn't understand. And so, what Barbie wants is to be worshiped. And the only way for her to be worshiped in the material world is she has to be a materialist. That's how the NWO works. It needs her to be a materialist to cover up who she really is. And therefore, it leads her to have a God complex, which ends up making her become ultra competitive against all the other gods. She is the one and only God. There are no other gods but she. And when you have this God complex and you become ultra competitive, the main thing that becomes in your carnal mind is self-preservation. You must do everything at all costs to make sure that you survive. And in order to do that, you have to become tenacious. And this leads Barbie to being impressionable, because she's not thinking in her right mind. So let's go back to Ken. And let's start with what Ken does. Ken becomes one of those people who is all about materialism. It's not about the conduct of his character. It's not about the man that he'll become and that he is, and the man that he once was, that he set aside to put aside childish things. It's all about, how can I get Barbie to notice me? And materialism becomes makeup for men. The same way that a woman sits in the mirror and puts on her eyelashes and, you know, the foundation and all that other stuff, because those are the only ones that I know. Money plus status plus lifestyle equals women to Ken. Because Ken wants Barbie. So he goes out, gets the really nice car. You know, he goes and works really hard, and he works 80 hours a week so he can get that nice house with the infinity pool. You know, he goes and gets the boat with the jet ski. It's not because he actually likes these things. It's so he can get the attention of Barbie. And you know, like any person who puts on makeup, you're trying to make up for things and beautify yourself. So Ken starts to paint his nails because it's pretty, it's beautiful. He puts on the chains that represent his lifestyle, because I got enough excess money that I could just spend it on a chain. And my watch, look at this watch. Doesn't this watch bling? Don't you see my rings? I got excess. You know, I got enough to just go around. And he doesn't quite understand why he does these things, but he's doing them to get Barbie's attention, which leads into his lawlessness. You know, he has no code of ethics. He's willing to fight and shoot and kill for it. He's willing to throw away relationships. There's no camaraderie. We're not together in this. We're not building a team. He's willing to steal and rob and his face so nobody can know that it's him, even though we know that it's him. He's even willing to go to war for these things. You know, he gets rid of his religion, he loses his religion. And not to say that religion is a good thing, but it also isn't a bad thing. It gives you a foundation of how to conduct yourself when you don't know how to conduct yourself. And so Ken resorts to lawlessness. And this lawlessness leads to his castration and surrender. He'll just do what he's told. Hey, man, I need you to go off that person. He goes and does it. You know, I need you to do this. He goes and does it. You know, it's like the man who's like pushing that big boulder up the mountain, and then he comes back down and he goes back to push the boulder up the mountain, and he realizes that giving up equals results. You know, he's tired of trying to impress everybody and be himself. The best thing to do is to not fight it. You know, sometimes letting go is actually getting rid of the pain and the struggle that comes with actually having maturation of who he is and who he's supposed to be. And when he gives up and he's castrated, it's because Ken is locked into romanticism. Deep down, Ken is the real romantic. He's the one that plans the dates. He's the one that can't wait to pay for the dates. He's the one that wants to marry Barbie because Barbie is just going to complete his whole life and complete his whole world. And he becomes addicted to the idea of love. Not actual love, the idea of love. Why did we get married? Why did you ask her to marry you? Because it sounds nice. That's what I'm supposed to do. But in order to get Barbie's attention, he has to beautify himself. He's got to be beautiful. I have to be just as beautiful so Barbie will notice me. I have to peacock. So he colors his hair, paints his nails, grows his locks out long, colors them, ties them up, make them look all pretty, you know? He's looks maxing. Hits the gym, gets muscles, gets, not getting strong, gets muscles so he can attract Barbie. Not for himself. Not to make himself a better person, a better spiritual being that's living. It's all for Barbie. And this is why Ken becomes disposable. And so you see it in today's time that Ken is disposable. Why? Because it'll always be, well, who's prettier, who has more money, who's at the top. Because if it's not about who you are in here and it's about what you have, well, then we'll just go to whoever has the most at the time. And this is why they say Gen Z is, identifying as celibate. There's like this gap that's widening between men and women. And do they want family and do they not want family? And more men want family and more women don't want family. And Ken is being rejected. Ken is left as DD in the phone, short for DoorDash. You know what I'm saying? Because only lesbians like women. Do you get it? Like if you become a woman, and Barbie doesn't like women, and what does she need you for? And if it's all about what you have and what you don't have, well, you're not going to reach your peak and start actually making some real money and living a real good material life until you about 40. So if you're under 40, well, then you're replaceable with somebody who's 40 plus, who's actually got money to spend. See, you think you have money to spend, but there's men who actually have worked on themselves to the point where they actually have money to spend. And this is why studies show that Gen Z women are choosing older men. Pendulum just keeps going back and forth. Why would I date a guy my age when I'm doing better? I'll just get a guy who's older who's doing better than both of us. And this leads to what Ken is about. Ken is about overt power. And what overt power essentially means is acceptance. He wants to be accepted by Barbie. He just wants Barbie to accept him for who he is. But he does all these things that don't show who he is. All so he could be accepted by Barbie. Deep down, Barbie notices it. Now let's get into Barbie. You know, Barbie has become a materialist because all of the things show status, which gets her closer to that godhood that we were talking about, you know? So that's why she gets the necklace that's worth 10K or the wedding ring from the man that's worth 100K and the red bottom pumps and, you know, the G-Wagon that she don't gotta fill up because Ken does it, you know? And she can't wait to go to dinners where she takes pictures of the food. Ken's not in the picture, mind you, but it's about showing the other women she has high status. And on the way out from having this luxurious dinner, you know, she has her purse that's worth whatever. Because I don't know what purses are, you know, how much they're worth. But, you know, she's got the Louis and Cartier and all of the name brand stuff. You think that she cares about the bag? She cares about what the bag represents to other women, to other goddesses. Because Barbie has a God complex. And to Barbie, what a God complex is that power equals no wrong. It's not what it would actually mean, like creators of worlds and, you know, malevolent, not malevolent, but in a way where you have no fear of giving your love freely. So Barbie thinks I'm always right, even when I'm wrong. You know, Barbie's always pointing the finger. It's not me. It was you guys because I laid out the law and you guys didn't follow it. So that's why we got it off you all. You know, she blame shifts. You know, I only did that because you made me do that. Because if you didn't make me do that, then I wouldn't have done that. You know, so men to the left because women are right. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have to have accountability because I gave you responsibility. Just like God. You know, I don't do wrong. Power equals no wrong. Because I'm in charge, I can't do wrong. Which leads to her ultra competitiveness. So she goes out, gets the BBL, She takes the pictures backwards and then turns her head so you can see the face, but you can see, what I'm saying, what she working with. She gets the makeup done and is always in the mirror looking and making sure and playing with her hair, making sure everything is perfect and right because she thinks to herself, well, what about me? All these other girls are getting attention and I look better than them, or I'm cooler than them and I do things better than them. I went and I got my doctorate. I got a PhD. I'm a boss. You know, it's like that little thing that I like. It's like a meme that I seen where like one of the like famous actresses was saying like, "Oh, I look better than Sydney Sweeney." You know, ultra competitive. What about me? I'm fly as hell too. And the reason why Barbie is ultra competitive is because Barbie has become about self preservation, not maturation, not who she really is, not that thing that tingles in there that is that divine spark of knowing that she is the doorway from heaven into earth. And so she says to herself, I'm going to survive. Oh, no, not I. I will survive. So if you ain't got no money in your wallet, ain't got time for you. You could be the most upstanding human being on earth. But if you broke, what does it matter? And this is why they say that, basically 70% of divorces happen because Barbie's going to survive. She has to self preserve herself because how will the next generation get here? And so if you do have issues, she goes, would you please just do this for me? Like, come on, just do this for me. Like, aren't I worth it? And she takes on the role of, you know what? In order to survive, I have to be in charge. I have to be the boss. And the only way that I can get everybody to recognize me is I'm going to start an OnlyFans where everybody will pay me. And when I have the money, then everybody will recognize me. Or I'll wear like the male suit with tie, like have my hair and makeup done. Because Barbie is about surviving. And in order to survive, you have to be tenacious. You have to be somebody who believes that anything you can do, I can do better. Anything you can do, I can do better. No, you can. Yes, I can. No, you know what I'm saying? To the point where it's like, she feels like if she had to shave, she could shave better than you. Oh, you want to get muscles and tattoos? Mine's going to look better. And I'm going to have a little fatty. Woman empowerment. I'm strong. I don't need you. I can do it better than you. And that's where, they go into the field of dominant. They leave the field of godhood and they come into masculine energy where I also want to build shit, Not cultivate, build it. I'm a builder and the cultivator. I'm the one who plants the seed and makes sure the shit grow. Because anything you could do, I could do better. I'm a woman. Barbie becomes tenacious. But because Barbie is tenacious, she doesn't realize that her weakness is she's impressionable. And when you're impressionable, you internalize the programming that happens from the NWO. You know what I'm saying? the NWO. And that led to, the movement of feminism. It was never about let's be people that can understand and give each other both, reciprocity. It was about domination. I drive the car. I'm a girl boss. I'm hot and sexy and drink my coffee and I run the business. And all men, they're just trash. And once you get one, you had them all. And if Ken decides that he wants to get some money, but Ken can't keep it up, then I'll just go to the next Ken that got more money. And the fertility rates just, why would I want to have a baby with you? You ain't got it like that. You ain't got your chains and your nails done and your lineup looking right and your house all perfect. You haven't set up a nest for me to just come in and just be worshiped. So that's why, I don't do it for you. I do it for me. I look good for me. I don't look good for you. Why would I do it for you? I do it for me. I'm a god. I'm a goddess. I don't need you. And $35 trillion later, the materialist mindset has taken over her and she's in debt because she wants this and wants that and wants this and wants that. And if it doesn't work out, well, then I'll get with him and then I'll divorce him. It's not about the maturation of the soul, of the spirit. Why else would we be here but to learn? You can't take anything with you. You can get all of this cool things that make you feel nice in the moment, but once you've had it, after a while, it's just that. It's just it. It isn't really anything. But what you can take with you is the knowledge of yourself, the maturation of yourself, the growth of yourself in who you are becoming. What is your foundation and what is the house that you're building? Barbie doesn't care about that. She's impressionable and what the world tells her that she needs, she internalizes it. Why? Because Barbie wants privilege. Barbie doesn't want to just live in a life where she has to learn and grow as well and overcome and swallow her pride. She wants privilege. She doesn't care about anything else because privilege equals covert power. The silent powers. I'm in power. You just don't know it. I let you think you're in power, but I'm the one that's really in power. And Ken goes, well, as long as she accepts me, then I have power. And once again, the pendulum just goes boop, 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 boop. Because how do you find a ground on people who want covert power and overt power? It's just gonna swing back and forth. Because what people can't realize is that equality does not equal equity. Equality would be we all get a box that's the same size. And in order to look over the fence, here's the box that everybody gets, and you stand on that. And if you ain't tall enough, you don't get to see the game. But equity, however, would be a little different from equality. The movement of the feminism is about equality, not equity. Equity would be, well, you're about 4'7", so we're gonna give you a couple of boxes so you can see the game. You about 6'4", so you need a little smaller box, but you can see the game. And you about 5'10", 5'9", so we're gonna give you a box that's just a little bigger so you can see the game, and now everybody can see the game. That would be equity. But we're not about equity. We're about equality. You could do, I could do. You look beautiful, I look beautiful. You look strong, I look strong. You got money, I got money. Back and forth, back and forth. I'm all just lost. But it takes a keen eye to be able to see it. You know, and the Manosphere guys, they halfway see it. And the Sprinkle girls, they halfway see it. But none of them are being able to see eye to eye. Because everybody's fighting for their type of power. They don't care about the maturation of the soul. That doesn't, what soul? Do we even have that? What is that? We're not worried about that. We're worried about getting as much as we can so we could die and not take it. And this is why Barbies can't be leaders. You see, Ken can't be a leader. He's a Barbie. And Barbie can't be a leader because she's a Barbie. And so both of these entities fight for leadership, and neither one of them are capable of being leaders because they have no creed, they have no morals, they have nothing that they live upon besides things that aren't real. And then they get in relationships that aren't real. And then they try to play parents that aren't real. And then they make children that aren't real. And then we have a world that isn't real. Simulacra and simulation. This is where we're at. And this is why the world has gone to shit. And you could blame it on what you want to blame it on. NWO, you know, the pyramid, whoever you want to blame it on. But really, the blame starts with yourself, not nobody outside of you. It's like that old saying where if you point finger, you got three pointing back at you. And some people like, well, that's that thumb that's pointing at God. God washed his hands a long time ago, I'm pretty sure. This has nothing to do with anybody but yourself, because you've allowed yourself to be tricked into believing that first, that this place that you live in is the Alpha and Omega. It is the real world. And second, that your status and the things that give you status gives you purpose in life. So it's not about being strong, it's about getting muscles. It's not about being a beautiful person, it's about being pretty. And this is why Barbies will never be great leaders, and this is why Barbies can't be leaders, and this is why Barbies shouldn't be leaders, and this is why the world has gone to shit. This is just the thoughts of a 3%er who's been up for a little over 24 hours and decided, let me say something. And then when I'm done saying something, I'll go back into my shell like a good hermit. Because people like me, nobody wants to hear from that. Nobody want to hear the real. Everybody real, but don't nobody want to hear the real. You're a bitch ass nigga. And your woman is a bitch ass nigga. You're all bitch ass niggas. Because you can't care about what's real. And as 3%ers who understand what's real, we'll sit in silence. And maybe you'll come across this video and maybe you'll hate it. Or maybe you'll come across this video and that little divine spark in there will touch you and say, damn, what is life really about? What should I really be worried about? What should I really be going for? Something that I'll never be able to take with me, or the information and the knowledge and the growth that I'll be able to take with me into the next life. And the reason why we know that there's a next life is because even science says that energy never dies. That little heartbeat is called energy. It's electricity running through your body. So when you think, oh, I died, no, that energy just is transferred over to somewhere else. Just a thought from a 3%er. Until the next one, stay suave, stay stupid. Please forgive me if I'm not at my normal energy or my normal conversation level, but I just felt like it needed to be said. So I'm going to go about probably getting some rest and going into my adventures that I have moving forward, because why would I care about things? I'm worried about the soul that's in here maturating into what the true God desires it to be. And maybe one day you'll do the same. Till then, I'll see you on the next one.